Happy June, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden here. June 2nd, 2014. Welcome aboard to another live edition of Fire Your MD Now. Join us for the live stream via YouTube. You can also access the live stream through my website, drglidden.com. We're going to be streaming live video along with the audio as much as is possible in the next coming century, because we're in it for the long haul. What's the best place to hide something? In plain sight. The best place to hide something is in plain sight. It's all about medical insurance with Obamacare, right? Obamacare now makes it mandatory for every citizen of the United States to carry medical insurance, which gives people access to the system of medicine, which is an utter failure when it comes to chronic disease. Leading cause of death in the United States, MD-directed medical therapeutics. Leading cause of bankruptcy in the United States, MD-directed medical therapeutics. But now it's mandatory for you to have a skin in that game, for you to enter into the medical insurance world. Now, hopefully, you have a seat belt, because you're going to need to fasten it right now, and or put something heavy on top of your head so the top of your skull doesn't blow off the top of your head. Health insurance company, senior executive officers, total salaries for 2013. You sitting down? Joseph Swedish from WellPoint, $49,853 per day. That's $17 million a year. Stephen Hemsley, United Health, $35,484 per day. David Cordani, Cigna, $39,589 per day. That's $13.5 million a year. Michael Niedorf from Centen, never even heard of that health insurance company, $42,560 per day. That's $14.5 million a year. Bruce Broussard from Humana, $25,000 a day, $8.8 million a year. And the King of the Hill, Mark Bertolini from Aetna, $90,000 a day. Grand total of $30.7 million a year. Now, most people don't even make $35,000 a year. Every one of these people, except for Bruce Broussard, is making that. Bruce comes in at $25,000 a day. I don't think any of my listening members would turn their nose up to $25,000 a day. And how do they get paid? They get paid on the back of your fear. They get paid because now the government has mandated that you have to have medical insurance. You have to have medical insurance. Otherwise, you're going to be penalized. You're going to be fined. It's not going to be good for you, right? Right. It's the law. Meanwhile, 6 individuals here, the CEOs of 6 of the biggest health insurance companies in the world, pulling down tens of thousands of dollars a day in their own bank account, built on the back of your suffering. Now, they would argue that, well, they're doing a public service and that they're offering you protection. But really what they're offering you is a ticket to get into a medical system, right? You can't get into the medical model unless you have a ticket. You can't get into the theater unless you have a ticket. You need a subscription, right? Or else you can't get in. Well, your ticket to contemporary American medicine, your ticket to, well, let's talk about the United States. Your ticket to conventional American medicine is health insurance. You either have it or you don't, and now it's mandatory that you have it. So you get medical insurance because it's mandatory. These people make out like bandits. And in the meantime, your ticket gives you access to an old-fashioned, outdated, Machiavellian, monopolistic philosophy of medicine and treatment strategy, which is completely ineffective for the treatment of chronic disease. It doesn't work. MD-directed medical therapeutics for chronic diseases do not work. They don't work. Why don't they work? Because they're based on a philosophy which is inconsistent with the reality of what it means to be a human being. MDs are not trained to fix anything. MDs are trained to manage your symptoms. Your medical doctor isn't trained to fix your illness. Your medical doctor isn't trained to cure your illness. Your medical doctor is trained to manage your symptoms with drugs and or surgery until death departs you from this mortal plane, until you shake off this mortal coil and go wherever it is we go once the mortal coil has been shaken. The leading cause of death in the United States is MD-directed medical therapeutics. And while the MDs have been driving the bus of medicine, what's happened? Everything gets worse. Arthritis is worse. Obesity is worse. Heart disease is worse. Autism is worse. Everything is worse. Now, how is this possible? Because it's a monopoly, and it's in plain sight. And the best place to hide something is in plain sight. This has become such an overarching phenomenon here. The monopolization of the modern medical market has become such an overarching, baked into the cake thing that most people don't question the notion that the MD is the king. Most people just accept it. And everybody else, right, the chiropractors, the homeopaths, the osteopaths, well, not the osteopaths, because they gave in after World War II, the naturopaths, the herbalists, Ayurvedic medical practitioners, traditional Chinese medical practitioners, and acupuncturists, those are all alternative practitioners, quack practitioners who bring nothing of substance to the table, because if they did bring anything of substance to the table, well, they'd be a part of the mainstream too, because after all, we have a free medical market, don't we? No, we don't. I did 8 years of medical school, 4 years of pre-med at the University of Massachusetts from 1984 until 1987. Secured a Bachelor of Science in their pre-med department, graduated in 1987 from the University of Massachusetts in Amherst. Matriculated at Bastyr University of Naturopathic Medicine in Seattle, Washington, graduated in 1991. Became licensed to practice naturopathic medicine in 1992. And have been practicing naturopathic medicine as a primary care physician since 1992. Been doing clinical work with patients since 1988. That's a long time. My profession is only licensed and regulated now in 17 states in the United States. 17 states. That means the majority of states in the United States do not allow you to have access to members of my profession. And let me ask you something. How many chiropractic visits does your insurance pay for? How many acupuncture treatments? How many homeopathic treatments? How many Ayurvedic medical treatments? How many herbal treatments? How many colon hydrotherapy treatments? How many massage treatments? How many clinical detoxification protocols does your medical insurance pay for? 0. Maybe they'll throw in 5 or 10 chiropractic visits a year, but you still have to pay your deductible, right? So we don't have a free medical market. We're over a barrel here, but the cultural myth is so strong. The cultural myth is so solidly implanted into our psyches that people just accept it as part of the deal. Everybody has drunk the Kool-Aid. Everybody's in the Matrix. And the Matrix, in this metaphor, is the false belief that the MD knows what's best for you, and that the MD brings to the table the alpha and the omega of all things medical, and that they have the first, middle, and last words on everything having to do with medicine, and everybody else is a back-of-the-bus alternative quack. It's nonsense, but it's baked into the cake here. So much so that the conversation when Obamacare came into the foreground wasn't about the effectiveness of MD-directed medicine. It was about costs and insurance fraud and all these other accounting and bookkeeping things. Had nothing to do. Nobody questions the authority. Nobody questions the notion that MDs suck at what they do when it comes to chronic disease. And this is why we have a healthcare crisis. It's not because your medical doctor is a sadist. It's not because they're idiotic. It's not because they have a low mental IQ. It's because they're members of a profession which actively believes that the pharmaceutical method is the only method. And remember, we're not against drugs. It's not the drug, it's how it's used. It's not the gun, it's how it's used. You can use drugs holistically. You can use drugs to help the body heal itself. But the way that MDs are trained to use drugs and surgery is not to help the body heal itself, because they do not believe that it can. They're only trained how to manage your symptoms until things get so bad that surgery is absolutely, positively, 100% necessary. This is a big problem, ladies and gentlemen. This is why we're up against it here. This is why this radio show is so important. This is why my website is so important. This is why Youngevity Nation is so important. Because we bring to the table a science-based, clinically verified alternatives to the old-fashioned, outdated, insane notions brought to the table by contemporary, allopathic, reductionistically trained pharmaceutical salesmen with stethoscopes around their neck and MDs after their name. We are the standard bearers for all things having to do with science-based, clinically verified alternatives to drugs and surgery. Quite frankly, in my perfect world, you wouldn't be able to use the term alternative medicine, because alternative implies that there's something is superior, right? I like to just say holistic medicine and be done with it. Give me a call, why don't you? We're going to talk about it today, as we do every day. Things you can do right now, to help your body recover its health. Science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition for the masses. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. Welcome aboard. Welcome back, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden here, streaming live. Check it out at drglidden.com. Also, fireyourmdnow.com. I like the way that sounds, don't you? You would too. If you've been sitting behind my desk for the last 20 years, you would be incensed at what passes for medical care. One of my pet peeves, right? It should be illegal for hospitals on the side of their building, and any of the advertising that they have, and any of the signs that they have along the highway, the billboards, and any of the television advertising that they do, to say that they practice healthcare, because they don't. They practice disease management. They do not practice healthcare. If they practice healthcare, people would be getting healthier. They're not. People are getting sicker, while we have given complete unbridled sway over the delivery of medicine to the MDs. Now, also, a little known fact, which I'm going to do an expose about in the coming months, is the complete usurpation of the research zone by the pharmaceutical industry. This is one of my pet peeves, right? People always say, holistic medicine, that's not researched enough. There's not enough double-blinded studies. Well, yes, there have been. There are tens of thousands of published research articles about the efficacy of vitamins and minerals and nutritional supplements, and there have been for 50-plus years. This is not a secret. But the majority of research, especially the research that's been done in the last 50 years, is not about things to make people better. It's about pharmaceutical interventions. The pharmaceutical industries pay the universities to have the university students do research. And what do the university students do research on? Vitamins? No. They do research on metabolic pathways for drugs. It's all about the drug, and it has been for the last 50 years. The research area of the United States has been completely immersed, overpowered, controlled, monopolized, usurped by the pharmaceutical industry and its gigantic money, and that's why it continues to work. I mean, get the Sunday paper, right? Get the closest city that you have, even if you live in a town. Go get the Sunday paper and leaf through it until you see a pharmaceutical ad. Their pharmaceutical ads are everywhere. By the way, when pharmaceutical companies advertise their drugs either on radio or on TV or in print media, that's called direct-to-consumer advertising, direct-to-consumer advertising. It's legal, number one, and you know why they do it? Because it works. It works. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it. Direct-to-consumer advertising adds about $25 million of profit to the pharmaceutical companies every year because it works. So, Joe Schmo from Idaho, after working an 8 or 12 or 15-hour shift, comes home slogged after work, puts together a measly dinner, then tries to relax and sit down and watch some TV, and he gets 3 or 4 direct-to-consumer ads telling him all about the latest and greatest drug. So he doesn't know any better, and he thinks, well, they're advertising for it, so it must be real. It must be a real thing. And so then Joe goes and talks to his doctor, and Joe convinces his doctor to give him the drug. And this is a great system of medicine, isn't it? You let the patient tell the doctor what the patient needs. Should be the other way around. At least that's how I was taught it in medical school. But it's upside down, it's inside out, it's backwards, and it's bad. And we're suffering needlessly only because it's a giant monopoly, and it's been in place for so long that nobody can see it. It's right there, but you can't see it. While we've given power to the MDs, autism has skyrocketed from 1 in 10,000 to what, 1 out of 80 now? 1 out of 50? Depending on how you crunch the numbers. It's nuts. Alzheimer's has risen from nowhere to become the 6th leading cause of death. Thank you, Bus Driver MD. You're doing a great job. Let's give you a promotion. Good job, Private. Yeah, I don't think so. But, when everybody is sick all of the time, people just accept sickness as par for the course. They think that that's just life, and it's not. It's life under the influence of drugs. It's life under the influence of a reductionistic, allopathic, old-fashioned, outdated, archaic, philosophical understanding of the nature of the human body and disease, and the treatment thereof. It's the philosophy that informs what the MDs do that's the problem. But because they're so filled with ego and hubris, they will never, ever, ever question their own philosophy. They will ride that horse until it's dead. And then they'll blame the horse instead of their bad behavior. It's insanity, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to stop it. We're going to stop it right now. George from Georgia is up when we come back. Don't even think about touching that dial. Stick around. Welcome back, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden here with you, the second day of June 2014. Welcome to Holistic Health Talk Radio. Unparalleled, quite frankly. Nobody is talking about what we're talking about, and everybody needs to be talking about what we're talking about. And quite frankly, if all of my colleagues around the world, many of whom have a lot more clinical expertise than I do, although mine is right up there, if they had, if they got up in front of the public the way that I did, in 10 years, everything would be different. Because the truth has a ring to it. And when you speak the truth, people understand the truth and people resonate to the truth. And then when they apply what we talk about, their things get better. Their health gets better. Conditions improve. And that's why the company which I am proud to represent, I don't really represent the company that I'm proud to talk about, the company that I'm proud to promote, Youngevity, has such a remarkable track record in this economy. It's growing 200%, 300% every year. It's now a publicly traded company. And how does that happen? Because it works. You can't keep a good person down, and the truth eventually will come out. Georgia, Georgia, the whole day through. Hey, how about this? We have a double entendre. George from Georgia is up. Let's see what's going on south of the Mason-Dixon line. Hey, George, thanks for the call. You are live.
Thank you, Dr. Glidden. I have a question, please.
Okay.
I have been diagnosed with a vocal cord nodule.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a teacher,
Ouch.
I teach at a local college. I'm a pastor, and I'm a singer of the choir.
Oh, you're in trouble, George.
I am. For the past year, I have to clear my voice, and I have a very thick but scanty, sometimes yellowish, sometimes clear sputum, but not much at all. But I have to clear my voice, and I cannot talk most of the day. So I'm already on board taking the supplements. I was, a couple of months ago, I began to inquire about longevity, and I bought my first supplement. But then I stopped until I had the diagnosis. And when the diagnosis came first in, okay, laser surgery, and I said, well, let me check something else. I'll be back later. So I don't know if there's anything that, other than I have been told, that could help my voice.
Well, you need to. Yeah, of course there is. Well, most of the time. Well, let me put this in perspective, right? Okay, let me put this in perspective. You could travel the world, and you could speak to every Roman Catholic person in the world. You could speak to every Roman Catholic bishop. You could speak to every Roman Catholic priest. You could speak to every Roman Catholic pope. You could speak to every Roman Catholic cardinal all around the world, and they would never, ever, ever be able to give you any advice about reincarnation, because that's not their thing. That's not their thing. Nor would they be able to tell you anything of any merit about Buddhism or about Hinduism or about Judaism, because it's not their thing. We should not expect an MD to tell us anything other than what they're trained in, and what they're trained in is surgery and management of symptoms with drugs. So, of course, the MD is going to recommend surgery. We shouldn't expect anything other from them, because that's their deal. Now, thank God for Novocaine, thank God for the mattress suture, thank God for the sterile technique. Sometimes you need surgery. And the stuff that they can do with surgery now is pretty awesome. But like the fella said, when all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So the MD is only going to be able to tell you about what they know about, and what they know about is, surgery, right? And by the way, the little nodule that's on the thyroid is it's on the vocal cord. I'm sorry, that's on the vocal cord. Yeah, it's not the disease. It's the result of the disease. It's the result of the disease. It's not the disease. So even if you were to go in and surgically remove it without affecting the rest of the vocal cords, without screwing anything up, if they did everything exactly correctly, perfect, it's perfect surgical, it's like textbook perfect surgery, the surgical procedure still would not get to the root cause of the disease. And it's very similar to just painting over the mold with paint without fixing the source of the mold. You just paint over it. Well, that's what we're going to do, because that's what they do. So even if you were to have surgery and the surgery was successful, the surgery wouldn't get to the root cause of it. And, that's why these things come back, right? That's why cancer is notorious for coming back, because the tumor is not the disease. It's the result of the disease. But the MD believes in their own failed methodology. They believe in their own failed philosophy. So they're going to cut, and they're going to burn, they're going to radiate, they're going to drug the hell out of everything that they can in this desperate attempt to eliminate not the disease process, but the result of the disease process. And then they wipe their hands, sleep soundly at night, and 2 years later, another 2 nodules pop up on the vocal cords, and then you're in trouble. So I'm interested, though, George, how long were you taking the longevity supplements before you stopped?
No, I only took it 1 month. It's been only about 2.5 months I stopped, and then I ordered.
Okay. Well, I'm all right with that. Life comes rolling in, and people have different reasons for everything that they do. But when you took it and when you stopped it, did you notice a difference in any aspect of your health?
No, because I was not diagnosed with a nodule. I first took it as if it were just hoarseness. And
right, but you didn't feel an increase in energy, or better mood, better sleep, better anything like that?
Yes, and my exercises and my daily life has been changed. Even in the second time that I'm taking the supplements. Of course it has. Yes.
Okay. Well, I mean, I know that it should have, but the radio audience doesn't know this, and it's not. It's important to be clear because there's a lot of people in the world that are selling, stuff that is ineffective and that's really kind of, not that great, right? And that's not what we do. So I like to be clear with everybody, especially the new listeners that we pick up all the time. Okay, great. So from our point of view, a nodule on the vocal cord is caused by not enough vocal cord nutrition, right? So anytime any part of the body starts to swell up, it's because it's been overworked. Well, notwithstanding reproductive organs. It's because it's been overworked and doesn't have the nutrients necessary to maintain structural integrity. A blister is a perfect example of this, or a callus. Calluses or blisters form because there's too much stress, too much friction to that part of the body, and the body doesn't have the internal integrity to withstand that stress, and so something breaks. So, to support and promote vocal cord strength, the vocal cords are made out of cartilage, and it's the same stuff your ligaments, tendons, and joints are made out of. So we would give you a cartilage support the same way that we would if you had an arthritic condition. Because remember, we don't treat disease. We support and promote the body's ability to optimize its structure and function. In this case, your body needs foundation medical nutrition with all 90 essential nutrients. And in addition to that, extra cartilage support, right? Because that's what the vocal cords are made out of. So what's your body weight, buddy?
169.
170. All right. So for 3 months, it would be prudent for you to take a 200-pound dose of glucogel in addition to what you're already doing. And so there's two ways you can do that. You can do 1 bottle of the liquid glucogel per 50 pounds per month. So that would be 4 bottles of liquid glucogel a month. Or you can get the glucogel capsules, and we dose that at 1 capsule per 10 pounds per day. So you would need 20 a day. You would need, 20 a day. That would be 20 times 30 is what? 600 a month. Is that right? Am I doing my math correctly? 200 pounds, 20 a day, 20 times 30 is 600. I guess my math is right there, but that seems like it. So you would need 2 bottles of glucogel at the 240 count and 1 bottle of glucogel at the 120 count. 2 bottles of glucogel, 2 bottles of glucogel at the 240 count and 1 bottle of glucogel at the 120 count. Take 20 capsules a day, 7, 7, and 6 or whatever. So, I'm sorry?
Either one, the liquid or the bottles.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. The only thing that's necessary here is that you have enough to the cause, right? And we dose it based upon your body weight. So, so either the liquid or the capsules you can mix and match as long as you're getting a dose appropriate for a 200-pound person, which would be a therapeutic dose for you for 3 months. Now, one more thing that you need to do, which you may already be doing, you need to identify and eliminate the 10 bad foods. Have you already done that?
Yes, sir.
All right, great. So in addition to the 90 essential nutrients that you're taking, the Healthy Start Pack, just add the glucogel, continue to eliminate the 10 bad foods, and look to see what happens. And, generally the way that this stuff goes is it's like watching ice melt in the springtime, right? Every 3 or 4 weeks is a little bit of improvement, little bit of improvement until you're all the way out of the woods. Now, call me back in 3 weeks, please, because...
Do I need any killer biotic for that nutrition?
No. Yeah, no. How much water do you drink?
About 3-4 glasses only. I don't drink much water.
Yeah, that's what you need to do. You need to drink more water. And I would be taking at least 6 essential fatty acids a day. 6 essential fatty acids a day. 6 EFAs a day.
Okay, I'm taking the plus the ultimate, 3 of each.
Okay, great. So you're good to go there. You just need a little bit more water. Now, there is a homeopathic medicine, which historically is pretty good for this condition. And this condition in the old homeopathic textbooks was referred to as clergyman's throat. Interesting, right? But I don't want you to try the homeopathic remedy until you've done the other stuff for 3 weeks. Because once you... 3 weeks.
Okay.
So call me back in 3 weeks. Tell me how you're doing. And then I'll tell you about the homeopathic medicine. But in the meantime, you need some glucogel. You need a little bit more water. And, just give your body more time. But look, this is not a life-threatening condition. I know it's a pain in the neck, pun intended. But surgery is the wrong thing to do for this, okay?
Yes.
Surgery is the wrong thing to do.
And the ultimate selenium, I take it, 3 times a day?
Well, if you wanted to add that into the bargain, it's not a bad idea. I would do 9 capsules a day, 3, 3, and 3.
3, 3, and... Okay. Well,
Okay.
I thank you very much, and I'll be calling you in 3 weeks.
I'll look forward to it, George. You can thank me after it works. I appreciate the trust, though, very much. Keep up the good work, and let me know how it goes. Let's go to California now, coast to coast. Gisela, I think, is how you pronounce it. Gisela? Is that Hey, Gisela?
Hi.
Hey, thanks for calling. You're alive. Did I get the name right?
Yeah, Drusilla.
Oh, Brucilla. You know what? We're up against a hard break. All right. Hold on. I'll bring you back up after these commercial words. I appreciate your call very much. Thanks for joining me, ladies and gentlemen. We're streaming live. Check it out at drglidden.com. Welcome back, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden here, June 2nd, 2014. Brucella from California is up. Hey, thanks for calling. I'm back. How can I help?
I have several issues. I have obesity. Medical management says I have high cholesterol, which last time checked, 270. I have a vitamin C, citrus, food allergy, and digestive issues, and receding gums. I'm postmenopausal.
That's all?
Well, acne, rash, it comes along with the allergies if I eat the wrong thing. Calcium, I guess that's calcium deficiency.
Well, there's a lot of things going on here. I don't know if you've ever been to, the Oriental market in your town and seen an octopus. You ever seen an octopus up close and personal?
No.
Well, it's a crazy-looking animal. It's got this big head and it's got these 8 long arms, and each one of the conditions.
What it looks.
You know what it looks like, right? Yeah. So.
She's a nurse.
And she's a nurse. All right. We love nurses, by the way. And honest to God, if roles were reversed and all of a sudden we all woke up tomorrow and nurses had the power in the hospital and the doctors worked for the nurses, everything would be different. Healthcare would change in about 6 months, because when nurses get into medicine, they get into medicine because they want to help people. When doctors get into medicine, it's because they want to make money, at least in the United States. They want to help people a little bit too, but there's a whole lot of ego stuff going on here. They did an interesting study years ago. They looked at medical professions all around the world where salaries were capped, and in some countries, there's only so much money you can make as a physician. In the countries where the salary was capped, where, you had to get into medicine because you wanted to actually help people, there were more women who were doctors. And in the countries where it was unlimited how much money you could make, the vast majority of doctors were men. So we love nurses. It's a great thing. And, if I were the king of the world, I would put you in charge of medicine, quite frankly. But in any event, all of the things that you're complaining about, from my vantage point, are like different arms of the same octopus, right? We've got obesity, which is a nutrient deficiency disease. Obesity is a nutrient deficiency disease. We've got digestive issues, which are nutrient deficiency diseases. We have food allergies, which are nutrient deficiency diseases on top of consistent consumption of all of the wrong food, which damages the small intestinal tract, which then opens the door for food allergies to show up. And we trace everything back to the root as much as possible. So If I had to guess, I would also say that maybe you have restless legs at night in bed from time to time. Maybe you have a hard time sleeping. Maybe you have heartburn on and off. Maybe you have little aches and pains on and off, right? Well, all these things which you have become accustomed to, which you think is just part of being a human being, it's not. Your body needs to be tuned up. Your body needs to be nutrified, and then we need to give it a break, get the heck out of the way, and see how far back you bounce. Now, I'm assuming how did you find out about this radio show, Priscilla?
From one of the messengers of Dr. Wallach.
All right, so do you have their contact info?
Yes, I do.
All right, so I did a really good webinar on obesity that lines the whole thing up from start to finish. You're not lazy. You don't have the fat gene. It's not because of lack of exercise. The only reason you're overweight is because you have a bad doctor. You don't have a bad gene. It's not your fault. It's your doctor's fault. And anybody who's told you that obesity is your fault needs to be pilloried in the town square, and I'll throw tomatoes at them for 24 hours a day. So I did a really good webinar that the person that invited you to this radio show probably has access to. But here's, I only have a minute left. I want to tell you what I want you to do. What's your current body weight?
Okay. 220.
Okay, so for the next 3 months, I want you to eliminate the 10 bad foods, and your contact will tell you how to do that. And I'd like you to take two original formula Healthy Start packs, 2 original formula Healthy Digestion packs, 2 original formula Healthy Digestion packs, and 2 bottles of Mackey Plus. 2 Healthy Digestion packs and 2 Mackey Plus. Plus eliminate the 10 bad foods. Give me a call back in about 3 weeks with a report. I love helping nurses because God only knows you help everybody from dawn till dusk. 2 Healthy Digestion packs, 2 bottles of Mackey Plus every month for the next 3 months, plus eliminate the 10 bad foods. And if you can, check out the webinar I did on obesity. Hour 2 coming up, folks. Stick around. It's the second hour, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for finding your way back to the radio station, the internet assembly, where smart people come to talk about health. Real health care, not disease management, health care. It's only a handful of physicians, regretfully, in the entire world. I would gainsay less than 300. In the entire world, licensed physicians who are actively engaged in a day-to-day practice of healthcare. There's a gigantic difference between healthcare and disease management, and regretfully, many of my naturopathic colleagues have fallen by the wayside. They've fallen into a camp of something called green allopathic medicine, green allopathy, which is basically where they're being taught and trained to use herbs and vitamins the same way that MDs use drugs to manage symptoms and to push biochemical pathways this way, that way, and the other. Completely misunderstanding the fundamental foundation philosophy of naturopathic medicine, that the body has intelligence, the body knows how to fix itself, and that the body wants to fix itself most of the time. So, I can arguably stand up on my podium in the town square and say, listen up, because there are only a handful of physicians in the world that actually know what to do to support and promote your body's ability to fix itself, and I'm one of them. Let's go to our old friend Alaric in Texas and see what's happening. Hey, Alaric, have you gotten a horse yet? Alaric?
No, you mean from the bitters?
No, I mean because you live in Texas. Doesn't everybody have a horse in Texas? That's what I was led to believe.
Too big for a horse.
So welcome back, Alaric. What's happening, man? What's the latest?
Well, I've been doing what you said. But if I don't walk at least 5 miles a day, my feet don't go down. I've been breathing.
Yeah, good.
I've been getting at least 50% of my meals have been fat.
Yeah.
some fat in it. And I haven't taken the digestive enzymes, but I've been taking the lemon juice and the bitters and about an ounce or 2 ounces of water.
Okay.
Up to about, go ahead.
All right, good. So what I wanted 50% of your meals to be is protein.
Protein. Okay, fats and protein. Okay.
Okay, not fat,
I'm getting
protein.
up to about 6 eggs a day.
Oh, you are? How much do you weigh?
Yeah. About 190 now.
Yeah, 6 eggs is
used to be
perfect. Do you notice any negative reactions after about 30 minutes after you eat the eggs? Like you get grumpy or
tired
moody
or
or lack of energy?
No.
Okay, great. We had a very interesting call here about a week ago, maybe two, with a woman who was having great success with longevity. She'd recovered from a number of things, and it was remarkable. But she was laboring with this kind of melancholy depression stuff. And I asked her what she ate, and she told me that she ate, a bunch of eggs a day, as we had advised her to do. And as it turns out, she had an allergy to eggs. And so when she ate eggs, they made her feel more melancholy and more depressed. And this is what will happen when you eat a lot of something that you're allergic to. But that's why I asked the question, just so the listening audience understands. So, are you salting your food so that it tastes good?
Big time.
Okay. And so tell me, Alaric, what, if anything, has improved in your body mind since you've been on board with longevity?
Sexual drive.
Yeah, sex drive is increased or decreased? It's increased?
Increased, yes.
Okay, good. What else?
I can say I have more energy. I can get up earlier and I can stay longer.
Great.
It's just the defeat. It's defeat that's getting this big.
Well, you've had surgical trauma to the feet. How many of the toes did the MDs cut off?
All of them.
Yeah, all 10 toes
on the
they cut off,
side.
right?
No, just 5 on the right.
Just on the right, because of a diabetic neuropathy?
Not because of that. I got an infection in there, and they didn't know what to do. I mean, I figured out now what I could have done to save them, but they didn't know what they were doing. They just know slice and dice. So
yeah, slice and dice. So, as far as water retention goes, or swelling up, is the right foot worse than the left or not?
yeah, but the left it fluctuates. There's days that it'll get skinny and I'll get a cramp. That's when I walk a lot.
Yeah.
There's days it'll get skinny and I'll cramp up. And then there are days that it'll just swell up, but it's not as bad as the right foot.
And when it swells up, is there a sensation of heat or a sensation of coldness in the foot?
I would say warmness. I would say warmness, warmness.
And do you feel inclined to put your foot in cold water in order to help it feel better, or not so much?
No.
Okay, so there's a homeopathic medicine I'd like you to try to see if it can't give you a little bit of leverage with the foot while we're waiting for the medical nutrition to bring it all the way home. Okay? Have something to write with?
Yep.
Okay. So there's two different homeopathic remedies I want you to try, and I want you to try them on. I want you to do one for 3 days, and if there's no change, I want you to do the other one for 3 days. The first one is called Ledum. It's L like Larry, E like Edward, D like David, U, M. L-E-D like David, U, M like Mary. Ledum.
Okay.
All right. The full name is Ledum palustre, but you don't need to worry about that. When you go to the homeopathic, store, the only medicine that has L-E-D-U-M in it is the one that I want you to get. And the second one is Apis. A like Apple, P like Peter, I, S like Sam. Apis, A-P-I-S. All right?
Got it.
I want you to get them both in the 200C or the 200CK strength. And I would like you to start with the Ledum and take 2 pellets 3 times a day for 3 days. 2 pellets orally. Yeah, orally 3 times a day for 3 days. And to take a homeopathic, you just pop 2 little pellets about the size of a BB. Pop them in your mouth and suck on them like a Tic Tac. 2 pellets 3 times a day for 3 days. Okay? Now, are you doing Ultimate Daily capsules, Alaric?
Yes, I am, and I'm doing EFA, selenium, chromium.
So you're good. There's nothing else to do, man. You just got to trust me. You just got to maintain the discipline. Just maintain the discipline and see how it goes. Oftentimes at this stage of the game, when things get stuck, things have improved. Sex drive's better, energy's better, sleep's better, things are better, life is better. Have you lost any weight?
Not really, no.
Are you trying to, or are you good at 190?
No, I'm good. I think I'm all right with that.
Okay, so sometimes a homeopathic treatment or an herbal treatment or an acupuncture treatment at this stage of the game can help to kind of kick you over the fence with it. So if I were you, that's what I would do next.
Okay.
And it's protein, Alaric, that you want to be 50% on your plate, okay? So now I know you got the egg thing down. That's great. Are you just eat like 6 eggs in the morning, or do you 2, 2, and 2? Do you spread them out over the course of the day?
I get three a day. 3 in the morning with some beans, a little meat, and some corn tortillas, and then at nighttime I'll have another 3, the same, with some salad.
Okay, and do you do anything for lunch?
Lunch, sometimes I'll have beans, corn tortillas, and a salad.
Okay, so if you have beans, without any other protein source, right? Like no chicken, no fish, no meat, right? You gotta add rice to it. You gotta have rice and beans together is a perfect protein. Rice or beans separate, not so much. So the only thing you need to brighten up is lunchtime here, and just add some rice to the beans, and you're good to go.
Okay, rice and beans together.
Together is a perfect protein, yep.
So 2 pellets 3 times a day for 3 days, the first one. And the same thing, if that doesn't work or that doesn't seem the swelling go down, then try the second one?
Correct. And then call me back and give me a report.
Got you, sir. Thank you very much.
All right. You're welcome, Alaric. I appreciate your trust. 2 minutes left in this segment. Let's go to Virginia and talk to Maureen about dialysis. Hey, Maureen. Thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
Cleveland is the one that told me to call you.
Oh, my God. You know Cleveland?
Yeah, Cleveland's sitting right here with me.
I am so sorry to hear that you know Cleveland. Oh, my God. My heart goes right out to you. Cleveland is one of our favorite guys. We love Cleveland. He's the greatest, and he's doing a lot of good work down there in Virginia.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, thanks for calling. How can I help?
Well, my husband is 62 years old, and he's been paralyzed for 4 years from the chest down, and he's been taking dialysis for 4 years. But recently, it's come up that he has a lot of fluid in his lungs, and so they dialyzed him 6 days straight. But his blood pressure has been plummeting as low as 45/38.
Oof,
and now
man.
there's nothing else that they can do. And so even like I'm sitting in the room with him right now, his blood pressure today has been like 88/53. So he has, along with, so now they put him in hospice. They weaned him off this drug called Levofed, and he couldn't stay on that. And he also has a trace of diabetes and 3 very serious pressure sores that they're treating.
Well, okay, so he's in the weeds. Now, inquiring minds want to know, why on earth is he paralyzed? How did that happen?
He had a spinal infection.
And how did that happen?
We don't know. I was bringing him to the hospital between of chest pains and back pains. And
boy, that's very peculiar. All right, Maureen, we're up against a hard break. Stick around. I'll pick you up on the other side of the commercials, and we'll do what we can. I appreciate the call, and my regards go out to Cleveland. Stick around, folks. More to come. And we're back live. We're live. This is live as it gets. By the way, we don't screen calls ever. I have no idea what people are going to talk to me about. I have no idea what people are going to say, and that's how we like it best. Talking to Maureen in Virginia about her husband. So, Maureen, what's your husband's current body weight?
About 170.
Okay, and can he eat, or do they have him on a feeding tube?
He can eat. He has a feeding tube, but it's just there because they just didn't take it out this time when he came to the hospital.
Okay, so we have to intervene, and we have to intervene, aggressively here, right? So here's what I would recommend. Number one, Cleveland has access to a list of 10 foods that we don't want anybody to look at, let alone eat. So Cleveland, you, me, your husband, everybody in the world, honestly, needs to stop eating these 10 foods, needs to stop eating these 10 foods immediately, number one. Number two, your husband needs to fill his body's nutritional tank up with a lion's share of essential nutrients, nutrients that his kidneys need to function properly, nutrients that his immune system needs to function properly, nutrients that his heart and lungs need to function properly, et cetera, et cetera. Our basic recommendation here is that we give the body the raw materials that it needs to rally and fix itself, because from our point of view, the body all the time is trying to rally and fix itself. I mean, if you cut your hand, the body heals it all by itself, right? All you have to do is keep it clean, put a Band-Aid on it, the body will heal it. Well, this is what happens with anything. I don't care how big or bad the problem is, as long as it's not like a bullet in the arm or some traumatic big bad voodoo daddy like that. The body is attempting to optimize its structure and function all of the time, but it needs raw materials to do that. So my recommendation for your husband to support and promote the structure and function of his body as a whole for the next 90 days would be 2 healthy blood sugar packs. 2 healthy blood sugar packs. 4 bottles of Ultimate Selenium. 4 bottles of Ultimate Selenium. That's 2 healthy blood sugar packs, 4 bottles of Ultimate Selenium, and 1 bottle of Ultimate Daily Capsules. 1 bottle of Ultimate Daily Capsules, plus eliminate the 10 bad foods. That's 1 bottle of Ultimate Daily Capsules per month, 4 bottles of Ultimate Selenium per month, and 2 boxes of the Healthy Blood Sugar Pack per month. I'd like to see him do that, plus eliminate the 10 bad foods. Cleveland will tell you how to get this stuff at the wholesale price, and he'll also tell you how to take it, give you advice about, how to dose it and how to give it to your husband so that it tastes good and that it goes down the hatch good. And call me back every 2 weeks, please, with an update, because we need to keep, pretty close attention to this. From my point of view, Maureen, I don't want to get too political here, but it's another failure of the medical system, right? I mean, you and your husband, your entire lives, have been paying medical insurance premiums to gain access to conventional medicine in the hope against hope that nothing goes bad. Something does go bad. And what do? They send him home and say, look, we can't help him. Well, thanks a lot. I want my damn money back. That's what I'd say. You can't help me. What the heck are you talking about? You can't help me. I've been paying insurance premiums my whole life because you told me when things got bad you'd be there for me, and now you're not there for me. And what's up with that? It's a cry and shame, conventional medicine. There are tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people, just like your husband, all around the United States and Canada, who have been let down by conventional medicine. Let down and let down hard. It's time we got, active. One of the best ways you can get active is to support your own health. So, Cleveland will tell you how to get the stuff and how to take it. You give me a call back every 2 weeks, and I'll look forward to it. Thanks so much for the call. The boards are all lit up today, ladies and gentlemen. The show is getting more and more and more popular. Well, why is that? Because it's hard to keep a bushel on the light. Eventually, the light's going to leak out. People are going to be attracted to it, like moths to a flame. But in this case, the light helps people. And that's how longevity moves. That's how longevity grooves. That's how Team Glidden grows. That's how every longevity downline grows. All we do is tell people the truth, point, have them try it themselves, and see what happens. The proof of the pudding's in the eating. We're going to go to Marshall, Oregon when we come back, so stick around. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Education goes on. That's why it's called the practice of medicine. That's why if you look up the term doctor, it translates in Latin as docere, which means teacher. And if your doctor isn't studying, don't go to him. It's as simple as that. And you know, it's interesting, right? Because years ago, that's how medicine in its really, when it was unadulterated by the pharmaceutical industry, what would happen is doctors would graduate from their respective medical schools, whether it was chiropractic or homeopathic or naturopathic or allopathic MD. They'd go about their clinical work, they'd go about their business, and they'd, write down treatments that they were doing, and then once a year they'd all gather together at a national convention and trade notes. Have you tried this for laryngitis? Have you done this for high blood pressure? Whatever. And in that way, the practice of medicine really actually did grow because doctors were concerned with things that really worked clinically. Not so much are we concerned with things that work clinically. Well, naturopaths are. I am. But your MD isn't. Your MD is concerned about the latest drug that the pharmaceutical rep told them about because the doctor is so overwhelmed with their workload. How can you possibly hope to get anything done? How can you possibly hope to draw anything of any substance whatsoever by spending 5 minutes with a patient? How can you possibly hope to know anything about the inner workings of the man, the inner workings of the woman, the inner workings of the child, the inner workings of the disease process? MDs do not treat people. They treat the results of disease. For goodness sake, the MD doesn't even need to see the patient. They don't. All they need to know is, the signs and symptoms. And, what does the blood work look like? They have the nurse do all the heavy lifting. Because the doctor doesn't treat the person. The doctor treats the result of the disease. There's a gigantic difference between the two. And if people just understood this, if people collectively around the world understood this, understood the way that MDs are trained and their understanding about the pathophysiology of the body, the disease process, and the body's ability or lack thereof to fix itself from the MD's point of view, people would be horrified and nobody would go to them unless they were bleeding to death. But when this is our thing, and this is why this is my motto, fire your MD now. It's not because we hate MDs. It's not because MDs are evil. It's because the therapeutics that MDs are trained in are ineffective for chronic disease, completely ineffective, dangerous, and expensive. I mean, if there was a priest in your town who was having sex with children, you would say something about it, right? Because, the results of the behavior are important. Well, the results of the behavior of MDs are important to talk about. You can love the MD, but hate the therapeutic, and that's what you should do. I'm not saying fire your MD because we hate MDs. I'm saying fire your MD because their therapeutics don't work. And it's that simple. But people have been so culturally conditioned to believe that the MD is king, that phrase has a certain amount of shock value to it, right? Which is why we do it, to get people to think, well, why does Dr. Glidden want me to fire my MD? What's he got against MDs? I don't have anything against MDs. When it comes to surgery, when it comes to trauma, which is their domain, which is their wheelhouse, I have everything against their therapeutics. And, quite frankly, everything that I and my colleagues do is science-based and clinically verified, so we know about it. It's not like this is hidden information. Why don't they know about it? Aren't they supposed to be the purveyors of all things medical? They are. Look, if you think 9/11 was an inside job, I couldn't agree more. I'm convinced 9/11 was an inside job. But what the heck can you do about it? What can you do about it? Nothing. Except educate yourself about how it all went down so that the next time it happens, you can be a little more prepared. But still, what are you going to be able to do about it? Nothing. When it comes to your health, there's everything that you can do about it. I'm not sure that the MDs are smart enough to have set this whole thing up as a giant conspiracy. I think it just rolled out as a big juggernaut. I think the pharmaceutical industry got the upper hand in the marketplace in the early 1920s after the Flexner Report. And then it's just become a runaway train since then. The whole thing has been fueled by money, and people just believe that the MDs are in top place because their stuff must be better. Well, the MDs aren't in top place because their stuff is better. They're in top place because of financial and political coalitions that were built at the turn of the century that nobody knows about anymore, nobody talks about anymore, nobody educates anybody about anymore. Want to read a great book? Rockefeller Medicine Man by E. Richard Brown. Rockefeller Medicine Men, I think, by E. Richard Brown. It'll blow your mind. But I don't think the MDs were smart enough to have orchestrated this whole thing. It's kind of become a conspiracy. Well, it's become a monopoly in spite of itself. It's become a monopoly in spite of itself. But it's a monopoly, nonetheless. And, maybe it's a conspiracy. I don't know. Maybe it's just an evolutionary, thing that happened because of money and greed and pharmaceutical power. The fact of the matter is that you can't do anything about 9/11, but there's a lot that you can do right now. Because there isn't any law that's passed yet that says you can't take your vitamins, although in Europe that's the way that it is. You can't get a nutritional supplement that's potent of any real therapeutic value unless you go through an MD. Did you know that? There's a law in Europe called Codex Alimentarius, which dictates the amounts of vitamins that are available over the counter, and they're pathetic. You can't get a therapeutic dose of a nutritional supplement over the counter in Europe. You can't. You need a prescription to do it. But you don't need that in Canada. You don't need that in the United States. And you can get longevity nutritional supplements sent to you individually anywhere in the world. So you can't do anything about the conspiracies in the world, unless you want to become the next James Bond. Go for it. Didn't work out too well for Snowden, did it? It's a problem, right? But when it comes to this medical stuff, whether it's a conspiracy or not, there's everything that you can do. There's everything that you can do. Because you can stop eating the 10 bad foods. And you can give your body the 90 essential nutrients that it needs every day. You can support and promote your body's ability to fix itself. You can do the proper breathing techniques. You can do the proper exercise. You can take the proper supplements for your body weight. You can educate yourself about the reason why you're sick and get on board with science-based, clinically verified therapeutics developed and delivered by licensed physicians trained in the holistic method. And get the hell out of your health hole. You can do that. And you need to do that. Because if you're just thinking that you've got the good gene and that you're going to, dodge that bullet, well, I've got a bridge for sale. It's only a matter of time until something in your body breaks unless you support and promote your body's ability to fix itself with nutrients. And it is impossible for you to get all the nutrients your body needs just from eating. You can't do it. You can't do it. It's a fool's errand to even try. Let's go to Oregon now and talk to Marshall. Marshall, I'm spouting off like, I don't know, like what. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now and let you do the talking. Thanks for the call. You are live.
Thank you. I have a friend that has had a problem the last 4 or 5 years, symptoms anyway, of no taste and no smell, or very rarely have the ability to taste or smell. And I also, in discussions with him, it would appear that he's probably got a mild to moderate gluten intolerance. He's in his late 40s. He was had a blood test for just general checkup here recently, and the doctor says, well, your blood test shows everything normal.
I know, don't you hate that? Yeah, so it's got to be in your head. You know, I've had patients when I've been in private practice. They've come to me with similar sets of symptoms, like strong and persistent symptoms, right? Strong and persistent symptoms. They go to like 4 different doctors, 1 GP, and then 3 different specialists, right? Nobody can find anything wrong. Oh, your blood work's normal. Oh, your x-ray's normal. Oh, everything's normal. Strong and persistent symptoms, but everything's wrong. So you know who the next person they're referred to is? The psychiatrist. Because the MD can't possibly conceptualize that the problem lies in their domain. The problem lies in their understanding of the pathophysiology of the human body. Their hubris is legendary. So rather than look to their own house and try to figure out their own shortcomings and why can't I get to the root of why can't I figure out what's bothering this person, they think the person's making it all up and it's all in their head because we can't find anything, so you need to see the psychiatrist. And that's a problem. And that happens all the time here. And that is, in fact, a big bad voodoo daddy. So lack of smell and lack of taste from a medical nutrition point of view can be as simple a thing as a zinc deficiency. It can be as simple a thing as a zinc deficiency or as complicated a thing as osteoporosis of the skull. Right? There are 10 little nerves that come out of the brain. They're called the cranial nerves. And they go through the skull to get to your eyes, ears, nose, mouth, and throat, etc. All the other nerves in your body come out of the spinal cord, right? But there's 10 nerves called the cranial nerves that come directly off of the brain. But to get to your eyes, ears, nose, mouth, and throat and everything, they need to go through the skull. And so the body has built tunnels in the skull. The body has built tunnels in the skull. Now, when you're healthy, and your skeleton, your skull in this case, has all of the structural integrity that it needs, has all of the minerals that it needs to have structural integrity, the tunnel in the skull is wide open. But when the skull starts and there's a nerve inside it, right, and everything is good. But when the skull starts to run out of nutrients, the tunnel starts to collapse. Now the body has wisdom. The body knows that if that continues, you're going to go deaf, dumb, and blind. And the body doesn't want that to happen. So what does the body do? Inside the tunnel, it puts connective tissue support. So it clogs the tunnel with connective tissue to keep you from going deaf, dumb, or blind. But remember, the tunnel should be wide open. Now it's got crap in it. And the crap rubs up against the nerve. And if it's the nerve that goes to your middle ear, your inner ear, you get ringing in the ears. If it goes to the inner ear, you get whirling vertigo. If it goes to your tongue, you get all kinds of funky taste sensations or no taste. If it goes to your nose, you start smelling things that aren't there or you don't have any smell at all. If it goes to your eye, you get a lazy eye. If it goes to your facial muscles, you get Bell's palsy. If it goes to your vocal cords, you get laryngitis. It's osteoporosis of the skull. On a bad day, on a good day, it's a simple zinc deficiency. So the recommendation... Yeah, go ahead.
He does have chronic, constant sinus nasal congestion. So if that helps narrow down a little bit.
That would be a different arm of the octopus, right? So in that case, the most common things that mess up the sinuses are lack of hydration and lack of mucous membrane raw materials. So the first thing that we think about with chronic sinus stuff is dehydration and not enough essential fatty acids, which, is a nutrient deficiency in and of itself, but it's different. An EFA deficiency is different than a mineral deficiency, but it doesn't matter because what we do is holistic. We've got them covered either way. So stick around with me, Marshall. I'll tell you what to do when we get back. Appreciate you. At the University of Manitoba in Canada, the Richardson Center for Functional Foods and Nutraceuticals did a research study on the effectiveness of the longevity nutritional products, and the lead researcher, Dr. Peter Jones, PhD, will be joining us a week from today, God willing, in the Creek Don't Rise to discuss the results. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. Knowledge is power. And if anybody tells you, that medical nutrition hasn't been researched, they're lying, or they're stupid, or both. Let's go back to Marshall in Oregon. Marshall, are you still with me?
Yes, sir.
All right, so here's what we do. Number 1, eliminate the 10 bad foods. Everybody does that, and you knew that. Number 2, he probably doesn't need the CM cream, which is part of the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack, so we can make our own Healthy Bone and Joint Pack up, and here's how I would do it. I would do 1 bottle of Beyond Tangy 2.0, 1 Beyond Tangy 2.0, 1 bottle of Beyond Osteo FX Liquid Calcium, 1 Beyond Tangy 2.0, 1 Beyond Osteo Liquid Calcium, 1 EFA at the 180 count, 1 EFA at the 180 count, and 2 Liquid Glucogel Plus, 2 Liquid Glucogel Plus per 100 pounds of body weight per month. That's how I would do it. I'd have him do that for 90 days and look to see whether or not he gets any purchase on it. But remember, right, because this is a holistic phenomenon, and what we do is boilerplate foundation medical nutrition for the masses, he, you, me, and everybody else who gives Youngevity a ride needs to be mindful of everything, right? Mood, energy, sleep, appetite, sex drive, weight, everything. All the middly-piddly little aches and pains, right? Everything. Because in the first 90 days, we expect a number of different things to be brightening up here while we're waiting for the chief complaint to get traction. And this is how you know that a holistic medical therapeutic is effective. And I don't care if it's an acupuncture treatment, a homeopathic treatment, a herbal treatment, or whatever, because it's affecting everything, right? And so we look to see how this therapeutic intervention affects people across the board. And if we get a strong, measurable, noticeable, positive change anywhere in the first couple of months, then we just maintain the discipline. We just ride the horse until it takes us as far as it's going to. Does that sound like a plan?
Yes. Could you contrast the liquid glucogel versus the capsule version, which I personally use myself?
Okay, well, I could, and really, there is a difference. The main therapeutic difference is that in the liquid, there isn't gelatin. And in the capsules, there's gelatin. There's a big difference. The capsules have gelatin, and this gives the capsules a little bit of a leading edge. But the capsules are harder for a lot of people to digest and absorb. Not because there's anything wrong with the capsule, but because most people's digestive tracts are messed up. And it's 1,000 times easier to digest and absorb a liquid supplement than it is anything in a capsule. So if you're dealing with a joint and ligament issue yourself and you're doing Youngevity, for 30 days, I would do an experiment and switch. So if you're taking the capsules, I would switch to the liquid for 30 days and see if you notice a difference, and vice versa. And this is one of the interesting things about the holistic medical nutrition intervention, because I've had some people that they just swear by the liquid glucogel, and that really made all the difference for them. And I've had some people that swear by the capsules, and that's made all the difference for them. I have some people that love the powdered calcium OsteoFX, and I have some people that they take that and they develop calcium deficiency illnesses. So to a certain extent, we have to get you in the right ballpark, right? We have to get people in the right ballpark. But then it's up to you to experiment with different bats, right? Different gloves, to complete the male sports metaphor, to see for you which produces the most remarkable results. Now, in a perfect world with a perfect digestive tract, it would be the capsules all the way. But because we don't live in a perfect world, we have to amend ourselves appropriately. We're all out of time, Marshall. I appreciate you very much. Keep up the good work in Oregon. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have an extra live chat tonight. It's at 8 o'clock Central Time. It's an extra added-on live chat tonight, 8 o'clock Central Time. This is not a regularly scheduled event for insiders and their guests. Live chat tonight, 8 p.m. Central Time. Check it out, drglidden.com. God willing and the creek don't rise. I'll see you tomorrow. Until then, live long and prosper.